time with family, staying active, doing what you love. We understand how important it is to live your best life, even as times are changing. At Holzer, we strive to help every patient achieve their best health during every stage of life. With more options for care through in-person and virtual visits, we are dedicated to providing you with excellent care every time. Live your best life with Holzer.
Hello and welcome to the newest episode of Talk of the Town. This is episode 24. I am Gallia County Chamber of Commerce Executive Director Josh Wellington, and joining me today with a title that will not fit on a business card, the Tobacco Use Prevention and Cessation Program and Grant Writing Director and Certified Cessation Therapist from the Gallia County Health Department, Alana Fraley, is with us today. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you. It's so great to be here. I'm excited.
We were supposed to start taping this about an hour ago, and we've been talking for an hour and a half, so I want to get you out of here and let you get back to the office. But a lot of things going on right now when it comes to tobacco and vaping, and we want to touch on different things like that. The first thing is a little bit about, so how long have you been in this position?
I start almost a year. I actually started it last March, so I've almost been with the health department for a year.
Okay, so what does your job entail?
I do many of things. I work with the county and city commissioners. I also work with the schools. I will sometimes go into the county schools, but I'm working really close right now with the city schools and Craig Wright to do prevention in the city schools. I also go in at our facility at the health department, and I talk to people about smoking and get them to stop smoking, and then we get a whole plan for them and talk to them about it. We're also partners with OSU, and we do a thing especially just for women 18 years and older, and it's called Break Free. So there's a lot of different things. I wear a lot of different hats, as long everybody else in there does too. It's amazing all that the health department does for this county.
So before we get into the school stuff, you mentioned about like helping people quit. So is it just classes, or can people come and get product that helps them quit, or kind of what goes into, let's say you've smoked a pack a day for 25 years and you're like, you know what, I've got family now, I've got to get, I want to see my grandkids grow up, so I need to quit. I'm going to go to the health department, and what are they going to do for me?
So one, there's many options. If you don't want to keep coming back to the health department, if you do not want to keep paying, which we don't cost a ton, but if you don't want to keep doing that, I can give you the Ohio Quit Line card, which is 1-800-QUIT-NOW. Everybody has heard of that.
Right.
For teens, if you have anybody that is 18 years and younger, it's My Life, My Quit. They are amazing too. What both of them do is they both give you a cessation treatment. So you call in there, you can call, text, or get on a chat box. What they do in there is they will help you with cessation. They're kind of like a therapist for you. They will give you free nicotine replacements, so gum, patches, whatever you might need to help you quit. And they do it for as long as you need to get quitting. Having that cessation person to talk to you, kind of like a therapist, is what really gets you over it. Most people just try to either cold turkey, or they try to just use a patch. But if you don't know how to use them correctly, that's the key to it. You have to know. And everybody would think, oh, I know how to chew gum,
right.
But there's a whole process to teaching you how to chew this gum or put these patches on.
Gotcha.
So, and that's what I do there. So if they want to come and see me, I go in there and we talk about their whole, it goes into, if you smoke in the morning, 30 minutes when you wake up, or straight in the morning, or if you smoke 5 packs, we assess you. I go in there, see how much everything you do with your smoking, and then we come up with a plan for you. You can come and talk to me, call me at any time, which is anybody in Gallipolis. You don't even need to be a smoker if you need something from the health department. But we also, we do all of that, and I sit there and talk to you and help you until we change your bad habits into good habits, is what I essentially do.
Okay. The big thing you've got going on, and we'll get into some of the the problems that you see in things. But you mentioned working hand in hand with the city schools and with Craig Wright, superintendent, who's active in a lot of stuff that we do here as well. Talk a little bit about what the program brings to helping solve the problem of kids and vaping in the schools and outside of the schools for that matter.
Well, one, kids are not educated at all on any of this anymore. They think that vaping, and I hear it all the time, like, it's just water.
It's flavored water.
Yeah, it's not going to do anything. So I have been...
It's like the puffing Gatorade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's exactly like... Well, we like it because of the flavoring, you know? I've heard that a lot. And it's a big pandemic. It's an epidemic that is happening in our schools. It's taking over. Now you can also take and put THC or CBD oils on top of that. And as I tell them all the time when I go into schools, you guys are not chemists. You have no idea about mixing chemicals. Like, just don't do it. But that's the problem that we see is they're even getting it off of the streets from other people who is mixing stuff on top of this. And they're doing that. Kids are overdosing on them. We've got a problem in there. Like, they're just not educated on what is going in to all these vapes and how to even, like, what chemicals are in them or anything. So that's what we came up with the solution of going in and educating them.
What do you think the ratio out of every 5 kids in a high school, and let's focus on the high school, so I'm sure it's in middle schools as well, probably, but in a high school, how many out of 5 have or still do vape, do you think?
Whenever we do a break-free program, they say in the state of Ohio, 1 out of 5 kids do it. Talking to the kids at the schools, they think that 50% of them do it, if not more. They see it everywhere. It's all around them. It's insane, all the stuff that they see. And they think that they know all about it. And then when you start to break it down and explain it to them, they have no idea what's going on. But they think that it's either half of the population, maybe a little bit less, is vaping.
So, other than, I mean, it was the same way when I was in high school, when you were in high school. It wasn't vaping, but it was snuff or it was cigarettes. Snuff was a little bit easier to do when you wanted because you could hide it somewhat walking down the hallway of high school, but you couldn't light up a Marlboro Red walking through, between second and third period. Now, when our parents were in school, they had smoking sections outside during high school. Things are not as they used to be. So you're always going to have we were able to get snuff from places and other people, older friends or family members, cousin or whatever, when we were at that age. Mm-hmm. It's the curiosity.
Yeah.
But so now I guess I look at it as at least tobacco was somewhat regulated. It wasn't like you didn't know what was in it. You knew what was in it, but you did it anyway.
Right.
Because you were cool. It made you cool. It made you fit in. But with the vapes, a lot of this stuff is not FDA or any other kind of regulated, especially when you get to start mixing stuff. So how can a person stand in front of a kid? The kid knows that when everybody does stupid things when they're teenagers. Mm-hmm. If you say you didn't, you did.
Right.
How do you stand in front and say, okay, we did it when we were kids or teenagers, but you should not be doing this, first and foremost. And this is why, and get them to not just look at you as the uncool, you don't know what, you're just old.
The vaping lady is
what
I'm called.
Yeah, the vaping lady.
The vaping or smoking lady. It's what I've heard I've been called. Yeah. One, I actually tell them the truth. Like, I did smoke a long time ago. I didn't do any of this vaping stuff, but a long time ago, I connect with them. I let them know, like, hey, I understand. I was young once too. One, you're not going to get anything over us. Like, we know what you're doing.
Right.
And two, I'm just honest with them. I said, listen, I used to smoke a long time ago. That's what, and I said, and I understand the struggle. Like, I didn't smoke a lot. Like, I didn't do a pack a day or anything like that. I think it would probably be like a week that I would go with the pack, maybe more. But I tell them, I understand, and I just try to get on their level and not lie to them. I think if you're more open and honest with the kids, and they know it's not just someone who's coming into our school or someone who's coming and talking to us that has no idea what they're talking about
Right.
and hasn't even done anything. I think they're more, bound to talk to you, and you're more relatable to them. You're a person. You're not just someone coming in here and just running your mouth, not knowing what you're talking about.
Right. So vaping has taken on, so when it first started becoming popular and the whole popcorn lung thing was out there, and it wasn't taboo. It was more of a niche.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody carried these big box mods, as they called them, and you built your own this, and it was all about, for 90% of the people, it was all about how much of a cloud you could put out.
Cloud wars.
Yeah. So, you'd be following someone down the road in their car, and then it would look like their interior was on fire when they rolled down the window. And that was the thing. And I don't think kids were into it initially as much, because you couldn't hide something that's the size of an old school 35mm camera from your parents.
Yeah.
That put out a puff of smoke that looked like the Gavin stacks. Like, it wasn't a thing. But now you've got the one time, the disposables. You're going in and buying a 5-pack of these throw them away things. Or I've seen videos where a vape shop had a product that was about to expire. So they put it in a fish bowl. They put them on a fish bowl.
Mm-hmm.
And it was, if you buy 10 or more, it's X amount per. And people were going in there and just buying handfuls of these little flash drive looking things. That's what the kids are using now.
Yeah. So when vaping actually first started coming out, vaping was another way to get someone off of smoking. They wanted it to be an NRT, a nicotine replacement.
Right.
A guy invented it to do that. And then people, like they do everything else, took it over, made it into something that it wasn't intended to be. So they did have the mods. Now they did have pods that they put into it, but that was getting worse because you're leaving a pod that has nothing but a whole pack of nicotine that you can get from a cigarette around. And kids were getting it and overdosing and dying from them. So they banned those. So then Puff Bar, is owned by two 27-year-old males, they came out with, they got taken off the market because they had the pods. So they rebranded themselves in 6 months and then came out with these disposable ones. And they had more flavors and it has more nicotine in them. And it just blew up. And kids seen that you could do those. It tasted better. I've got told today that, they do it because their friends gave them one. They do it because their anxiety, something at home, they just like it. They don't want to smoke, but they like this, and it takes the edge off, or whatever it might be. But they can hide them. They're super thin. There's all different kinds of them now. They have them that look like a writing pen that you can use, and they can just put it in their mouth and puff and then blow it down their sweatshirts, and they think that the teachers in them don't know. But the more that they keep coming out with, teachers don't know. Like, teachers are not even very educated on all the different types. There's so many. It's insane, but they can hide them in insane places now, and they do. They really do. So, yeah, it's becoming a lot more of a problem because they keep getting sleeker and different, and it's hard to tell if it's a vape or if it's not a vape. Is it a flash drive or not one?
You're always going to have the people who are pro-vape, and I've heard this argument 1,000 times if I've heard it once. They're just coming after the vape companies because it's threatening to tobacco. And tobacco is feeling like it's going to take them out of business, so their lobbyists are pushing to get vapes gone so that they can sell more cigarettes. Truth or false?
That's false. Right now, I do tobacco, which is basically my job is to do tobacco stores. Anywhere that sells tobacco products. These are synthetics, is what they're doing. There's, like you said, no FDA, CDT regulations at all. In my job, I don't even have to go into a vape place at all. I go to everywhere that's tobacco related, in gas stations, and anywhere that sells cigarettes. Vaping, on the other side of mine, I just go in and educate children because, you're 21 and that's the price, that's the age of it, is 21 and older. We, tell you the facts of what's going on with stuff. That's my job. And if you're 21 above, you decide what you do. But children, that's a whole different thing. And that's where we come in and I come in and try to just educate children so children will know what is going on. So, because they shouldn't have it anyways. They're not 21. It's exactly like alcohol,
Yep.
So we're not trying to take anything away from any of the vape shops at all. We're not doing that. Nobody's coming after them. I don't even audit them or do compliance checks with them. We're just about letting the youth know and helping them.
Now, there is the state or someone, there are licenses, I'm assuming, for the vape shops and things that they can be checked up on and regulated, just like the health department probably doesn't doesn't obviously go in and check liquor licenses, but the liquor agency can come in and checks for the regulations of that product. I'm sure that there's some supervision, just not from your department.
Yeah, just not from us.
Okay.
That's not what we do. I don't go in and do vapes. I don't go in and do alcohol or anything like that. But the Ohio Department of Health, there is licenses on everything.
Right.
And I'm sure that the people that have these, the vape torians or, the vape shops or whatever, they know all the regulations and stuff that they can do. They get set guidelines of what they can and cannot do. So I just don't do anything with those.
Gotcha. What do you see outside of, we've talked about the vaping in the schools, and you're never going to stop 100%, 100% of teenagers doing things they shouldn't be doing. It's just not a possibility. But what other problems are you seeing? Because you're out there, feet on the ground, hands on with these issues. Is tobacco still a huge problem with, teenage kids, or is vaping kind of taking over that space?
Vaping has completely taken over that space. Most kids think, you'll have like some boys that rub snuff, so that's always going to be there. But vaping has taken over tobacco. Kids, there's the flavors. The vaping industry kind of knows what they have on their hands, so they create all these
bubblegum, cotton candy,
nerds.
Yes,
all of
Skittles.
that. There's even a chicken and waffles. Can you
No.
Oh, yes, there is.
That's
I don't even
pitiful.
know who would. Look, it's whatever.
But I guess I would say, so first off, you can walk back into your house and you don't smell like an ashtray. So mom and dad don't know, are less likely to find out. But also, I guess, looking at it from the outside, when it comes to the tobacco side of it, we're a community that a lot of our families were built on raising it.
Yeah.
So the argument when I was a kid was, it was the always don't smoke, no snuff, blah, blah, blah. Well, then why are we selling it to people? Like, I'm working my tail off all summer long in the hot sweat and, the sun beating down, hoeing weeds out of a tobacco patch that we in turn have to sell
For the tobacco
tobacco people. And then you're telling me how bad it is for me, but yet it's okay for me to raise it, and then I get a little bit of money on the side from the grandparents for helping to go buy a new pair of Jordans or whatever.
Yeah.
We're talking about both sides of our mouth here. So, you're looking at a community that at one time was a booming tobacco producer. And it kind of went by the wayside because it became, just like a lot of other agricultural things, it became a big business to, less people doing more, so to speak. You don't have, the same with dairy farms and beef farms and things like that. What used to be a family farm project had turned into a commercial production, so to speak. But just the different, there's always going to be somebody trying to stay ahead of the curve when it comes to, you can regulate this, but we're going to change one little thing, and now we're outside of your regulations again.
Yes.
And they know what they're doing, or they wouldn't make them look like ink pens or flash drives, or there were some that I've seen a kid could walk around with it on their keychain. And you would think it was a flash drive.
Listen, there's some that you can get on the back of your cell phone now. You can press a button and a little thing pops up and you can vape from your cell phone. You can take out your Apple Watch now and you can put it up to your mouth. You can vape off of it. They did have sweaters that had, in the strings, they had tubes on them. And you could put it up to your mouth and vape off of it. They have book bags. They have, looks exactly like ink pens. They have, oh my goodness, some, they even look like those little pods that you can get from Walmart, the flavorings that you can put in your drinks. They have those. They have flash drives. They have stuff that looks like markers. They are targeting they know exactly what they're doing. They're targeting exactly towards children and youth. And the youth, they're eating it up, you know? They're hiding stuff from there, think they're being sneaky and they're hiding stuff. But what parents aren't educated either. They don't know what vaping stuff is.
Right.
You know, we've had parents that bought their kids melatonin vapes. And for sleepovers, even. But what they don't know is they're not regulated. They don't have to tell you anything. They don't have to tell you if they have nicotine in them because there's not a space for them. They're not in the tobacco, but they're not in the drugs category. So they really don't have to tell you anything about them. But when they broke them open, they found out that the ones that even are saying, this is no nicotine, there's nicotine in them because they're trying to get you, you know, hooked on them.
There's no regulation.
No, there's none.
What assets are out there for parents that want to learn more to kind of get ahead of the, you know, knowing maybe your kid's not doing it now. Maybe you got a kid who's in the 8th grade and they're not doing it. They're not exposed to it as of yet. Or I've got a 3rd grader. She's not exposed to anything like that, but she will be eventually, or whatever the new fad is by that point when she's, you know, a little bit.
Did you say she's in 3rd?
Yeah.
We got people that was in 3rd grade that has been doing it. It's trickling down. It was in 5th.
Crazy.
Then it went down to, we're all the way down to 3rd grade now. Parents are even, some parents that, I don't know if they're not educated or whatever on this subject, but they'll let their kids, they'll tell us like, oh, we let my mom vapes and we thought it was funny to give it to our sibling, you know, who's a baby. So what I can educate anybody. If they want to know, all they have to do is get a hold of me at the health department. I also go into the juvenile court systems, and they have classes in there all the time for parents and children. And I go in there and with Anita Moore, and I talk to all of them in there, and I let the parents know, like, they sit in a class with me just with their youth and them side by side. And I tell them all the time, the key is asking questions, like knowing, you know, and I can teach them how to do all of that. So if they need me as a reference, you know,
Right.
I can come anytime.
And I think you talked earlier about just giving it to them straight. Somebody who has experienced the tobacco side of it and sees the vaping side, that has to go further than the scared straight method that we were used to.
Oh, yeah.
Let's show a picture of a black... That's it's never going to happen to me scenario. Mm-hmm. But by, you know, if you look at a poster, just the way kids learn and the way kids access things now is just so much different than past generations. What, on a, I guess not even a local level, because you're taking the bull by the horn, so to speak, on the local level, but do parents need to contact, you know, state level people, federal level people? I mean, what do we have to do to get broader regulations to keep kids, and like you said, it's an adult, that's your decision. I'm fully aware that, you know, we're not going to, you know, we're not proposing infringe on the rights of adults. Adults. That's your deal. It is what it is. But how do we get it cracked down on?
I think in our areas, if you want to get stuff, one, I am trying my best to get it done through, and I've been working with some wonderful people that is in the county commissioners as well as the city commissioners, talking to them. But that's really what you got to do if you want, you know, things done. We all have to work together to get this, to get everything, you know, to get this off the streets, or for everybody to learn, to get this out of the kids' reach and stuff. I think that just coming together and all of us doing our part would help. So local level, it's really important to do it because you have to start somewhere, and your somewhere is here in Gallipolis. So
you have, I guess, smoking cessation. Is that just for like the traditional tobacco, or are you able? Are there resources for people who are vaping and they want to stop?
Yes, there's resources. I can do both.
Okay.
I can do both tobacco and vaping, and I do it all the time. We have some wonderful people at the health department, which is Tasha Alvaro, who is a nurse practitioner. Plus, we have 2 other wonderful nurse practitioners that are there. We have a whole team out there who works together, and they're amazing. They can help as well.
What is the, and as my computer starts to get crazy here, as a record, what is the, I mean, like we said, the ultimate goal, I guess, because we know it's not going to be 100% ever. I mean, it's always going to be, and if this problem goes away, just like if tobacco going down, somebody has to step in and take the empty space. If you were to step back and kind of look at it broad picture, what's the ultimate goal?
I just feel for our county, the ultimate goal is, one, we need to educate parents and kids. Let them know what's in it. Let them not just say, don't do that. Like how you're
Right.
talking about, and scare them stiff,
Yes.
how we was. I tell the kids all the time, even today, whenever I was in at GAMS today, I said, listen, talk. Like, it's a lot more open than what it used to be, parents-wise. Like, the communication is amazing now that you can have with your parents. I'm like, talk, ask questions. Like, if you don't get the answers from them and they don't want to talk, come ask me. I'll talk to you anytime.
Yeah.
But just taking it one step at a time and trying to do our best and educate the youth as well as the parents who doesn't know and wants to know, giving you the signs that your kids are vaping. You can even go talk to your local dentist. I mean, Jonna Jorgensen out here, we have had discussions about, she can even see kids vaping. They don't even have to tell her. She can see it in their teeth. She can see it in their gums. It's a really big mess. It's messing with, you can go to any healthcare provider and they can tell you the signs of your kids being able, and they can all help you.
Wow. So wrapping up, if you're an adult, a child, and child, I hate to even have to use that term because you want to say teenager, but if it's even younger than that, or you're a parent or a guardian, grandparent, somebody who's concerned, wants more information, how do they get in touch with you at the health department?
They can come up to the nurses station there. I'm in the nurses where they get do all the shots and stuff. And they can just ask for Alana Fraley, or they can call me at 740-441-2957. That's my direct line. You won't get press 1, press 2. That is my direct line. Or they can do alana.fraley@galliacohealth.org.
And that's ALANA.
Yeah, .FRALEY.
That's awesome. I think that with people, if people know the resources, I think the health department in general offers a lot of resources that people in the community, and it's not just Gallia Police, people throughout Gallia County have access to, and the things that are done out there that people may not even realize are possible, things that they can utilize, resources. But you guys are doing a good job with the big video board getting the word out.
Oh,
that thing lights up the dark.
It's
coming
not
down
like
Jackson
Buckeye
Pike.
Hills.
It is not like Buckeye Hills.
Buckeye Hills is
I
blinding.
love Jamie Nash to death out of Buckeye Hills, but my word,
You
that
come off
thing
of
is
that
like,
thing and it's bright lighting you.
yeah. But you guys do a great job, whether it's with the WIC program or vital statistics, anything like that. And I know that is one building that has had it a little bit rough the last 2 years, so to speak.
Oh, they have. But let me tell you, everybody in there is to help everybody. They are amazing people. I couldn't ask to work for or with a better community of people. They're all just amazing. They're there to help everybody. They're there trying to do their best and educate people and just help in any way that we can. So they're amazing. They really are. Every one of them.
That's awesome. Well, I thank you for coming in today. Don't forget you can listen to this episode and all episodes on YouTube on Fridays or on WJHFM during the 8 o'clock hour on Sunday mornings. Until next week, we'll see you then.